So it said that virtue follows after a mind of virtue and not after the outer forms or the outer physical, the outer display. And so what that means is that if we can first generate a proper and authentic, wholesome motivation, virtuous motivation, then any actions that are coming as a result or which are brought about by that motivation become authentic virtues. But rather, if our motivation is one of non-virtue or of a neutral state of mind, then any seemingly virtuous actions that are brought about by them will not actually become authentic virtues, but will be mere reflections of virtue. And so, at the beginning of whatever kind of Dharma practice we may engage in, whether that's today's Dharma teaching or whether it's your day-to-day practice of reciting prayers, doing prostrations, circumambulations, whatever practices you may engage in, if you can start at the beginning of your practice with a proper motivation, starting your practice with taking refuge and generating bodhicitta, and end your practice with aspiration and dedication, and in the middle, when you're actually doing the practice, to make sure that your practice is not disturbed by any distraction or non-virtuous thoughts, then that practice will become one of authentic virtue.
Beti shiyate ane sakshi manami mare tate nazo tsat di kazan shiba na yin ki daga aza malam jama za mayin ba di nang na ane ji saja chimbo nyamza lembar seba ki lamja ramba cha tsama ji ane tinde yub deba teni ane malam ki tsodala ane ji maadam shaba ji tindi mare.
And so the teachings that we're receiving here and that I'm giving here are on the aspiration of Mahamudra. And this isn't a mere aspiration or a simple aspiration, but this is an aspiration prayer which contains the entire path of practice of the Mahamudra. And it is actually an instruction to us which is given in the form of an aspiration prayer.
다 텐디 마인데 다 가다가서 제시에 되다 dinana 망랑기나나 단 제시 제바지 무슨 투수 통통는 영어 말할 때 얘는 나게 저원도라 마소게 시용당 아니 텐디 사제 첨부가 고동당 아니 텐디 로비안데서 돼서 야제 영는선 텐디 가장 지금서 투수 듣던 먹을 건데 때 전제시 강나 강산지 텐디 쉬바이 마이 텐디 이메일이 양 직세나 텐데 야 텐데 남주 그래서 출리지 달로야로 당 아니 지 출로 추녀야로 텐데 법정 몸부지 세만용보 이메이나 양대스 깔에 가오요나 시리 말때다 얘는 무슨 넘버기 나네 배 시럽도 가서 숨어나 이 기침물이라 제 넘버가 나네 디 기침물 차이열이 다 나지 아니 지 사제 전부 뭐라야 아니 가자 공도 남거를 먹으면 숨어나지 아니 저 롱을 투베 미시달레토 메마산베 태송메나 좀 공정우제 내luc지 위에서 시럽섬도 나와 제브쇼스 가서 만나되는 당도와 다테인데 다티 시럽도 나서 양 만남 장바 잡아잡기 마소라 아니 티 시럽도 파야다 가리 가고 있는데 대인데 다티 시럽도 per거나 투비 시럽도 per거나 다 말아서 주로 보장 거 그래 근데 삼비 시럽도 per거나 아니 티 투바가 동대라 마소 그지 삼종의 양대 아니 도로제 근데 고미 시럽라 아니 때 투베 띵 파 삼베 도로제 이거 동대 아니 고모기 양대 때문에 아니 냠니세인데 근데 투종 투비 시럽 삼비 시럽 고미 시럽 때문에 왜 제요리스 근데 이마인데 마소 투바서야 돼 아니 주 법정서에 다 하지 게치모래 드디제 임마인데 가장 많아서 아니 전제시 노드지 드니 쉬요래 연제서 연 서바이나 때서 고단 투문조리나 때서 연 가래 가오다 때나 드니 심쉬면요 말이 마소 내 남주인 드니 같이 시에돼요 마소 가드이나 레월 담보다 돼요 말이 마소 진짜 담보 장마다 돼요 말이 마소 냐네 임마이나다 법정이 임바이나인다 아니지 꽤 런저거는 소 야제 당고 그랬어. 그러나 법라지 임바이나 양 가드이나 양 그래서 레하고 짠장 뇽 대바 임바이나 대마도 봐서 그래서 야제로 돌면도 근데 진짜 당보랑 그래. 근데 대선 지난이 받아서 갈래 가요 돼. 다때 갈래 가고도 나한테 요효 인시 저는 담보는 메시지 대대로. 된지인데 된지 많이 받게. 맞아 그때 다 갈래 이야기 동나 되는 맞아. 로브라게 로런도가 나이지. 맞아 그 쉬운데 소용 된데 이야기 로고 그랬어.
And so the explanations that I've given yesterday and continuing today on this aspiration have to be kind of according to the amount of time that we have. So we don't really have time to go into an extremely extensive explanation of this prayer. But my hope is that you will gain some understanding and that this will improve your understanding and your study of these teachings. And so we just have to work with the time that we have. And so maybe for some people who are new to Buddhism, this is going to be quite a difficult teaching. Some of these concepts are going to be hard to understand. But I know that studying and wisdom generally in Buddhism, this topic of wisdom and study is very important in terms of reading books, receiving teachings, studying the Dharma, and so on. And even in the Mahamudra, then it's also important, even in the context of, for example, this aspiration prayer. As it says then in the prayer, it said, hearing scripture and reasoning frees from unknowing, contemplating the instructions conquers the darkness of doubt. The light of meditation clearly reveals the nature as it is. May the brilliance of the three wisdoms increase. And just praying for gaining these wisdoms of hearing, contemplation, and meditation isn't really necessarily going to bring about those wisdoms. We have to actually do something about it. And so we need to actually hear the teachings. So first we need to study. We need to hear the teachings. Otherwise, just wishing for that is not necessarily, it's going to be difficult to say that just wishing for this is actually going to increase your wisdom. And so we need to hear the teachings. We need to study. Then we need to contemplate those teachings. We need to take that which we have heard, and we need to consider that and think about that again and again until we cut through all our misconceptions about it. And then we need to take that which we've heard and what we have thought about and gotten a certainty through cutting through our misconceptions and meditate on that again and again and again. And so if we do that, then that's how we can actually increase our wisdom. And so for some of you who are new and who maybe are not exactly gaining a complete or maybe you're not exactly understanding what's happening here today, what's happening in these teachings, you shouldn't be discouraged by that. You need to make some efforts because, like I'm always saying, we can't just sit at a basic level of understanding. We can't just stay in first grade class. We have to, whether we're talking about our understanding of study in terms of Buddhism or whether we're talking about our practice, we can't just always stay at a basic and easy level, but we need to move upwards and progress. Just like the stages of classes in a school, we need to move from the first grade to second grade and so on. If we just stay in the first grade thinking that the second class is going to be too difficult and we don't want to try, then we're just going to spend our whole life in first grade and not make any movement. And so we really need to not be discouraged and really move upwards, and we can gradually then increase our level and increase our wisdom and understanding by progressing through and pushing forward to the next stage and the next stage.
야, 가시가 서마이나다 사제 템보 곰버세발라 다가지 지 생금 모트에 다가자 바 곰데는 적기래 다 무슨지 된디 법령으로 망고지 점바진로 어고나산나 다테 고리스 대 가르리스는 짜단가서 강사도 원볼 아니 지 넘버닌도 다 직결바 세나 지 경험 흔드 송아 그 된디 아니지 된디 다 론놈보 가르데마가 강사 찍이요 바데 다 된디제 임바이나 야 투삼검서 렘베 마송바 임바이나 야 되네 소말렌 토다 덴바 라마신납도 덴바 된디 아니지 대바도 무 된디 그 찐이 좀는데 아니지 산전내로 또야 요바 임바리 다 된디도 뇽뇽뇽뇽데 빼뇽뇽데 다 망는 지기도 좀 가서 아니지 다 랑거 점바트서 렘베 로장 나 된디비 다 사제 정보에는 된디비 또 거예요 가는데 서도 벤진 같은 송이데 다 투바당 삼바당 곰바트소 준레리스 조던 제바 아니 이제 곰바기 시랍지 야고지 죄를 찌거나 다티 죄를 삼바기 시랍리스 다 삼비 시랍도 야고지 죄를 찌거나 디죄도 투바리스 대인도 좀해봐도 내가 영향이 말하다 좀해봐도 내가 영향이 말 대인도 지금 나마나마에서 스마스마고 죄리스 근데 인도 이제 담보 투바 야고지 매바 임바이나 출라지 대 법정 야고지 마제베 임바이나 단 사례지 뭐도 나하고 말해 단에 양제 다 투바 요바이나 양 단에 르메스마데 용도 대추가 내로도 하고 근데 대동의 양도 지 삼모당 제바종도 근데 삼종의 시합이 용을했지 다대 담보 투베 사제 전무세야다 간데 하나 근데 삼바가 동도 맞죠 다 가려져 거면요 말 거면 가서 따와가 가는 시반 하지데 담몽은 좀 나진 근데 메인은 페인 거나 메인데 야고진 통거도 메인데 야고진 많통마 임바이나 다른 다 메인은 방와 있나요 메인은 보고 말어 된다고 지 아니 지금 저지 사제 전부 검용바가 값서네요 아니 사제 전부 그 따와져서 담보야고 좀 웅무초 따와들야고 지 돈도초 뒤동은 니시지 어다 된데리 자다 검스는 레라오리 다 따와게 또용바 다랑 그 돈은 되는 녀바지 않나 되는 거서 막 검한테 다 되는 요래 되는데 투선서야 돼서 배 기체모임 말이 되는데 지다 양 되니 망고 상계요래 되니 양 계제 신경이 망고요래 다 검디하고도 시라티 로비안 고그만이 세한다고 당 되니 상모 망고도 다 로비안 고그로 산지기 보드 자다 제 송이요. 다 로비안 먹고나 가래서는 거서 산지 그때 보드 자다 제 송이요. 사제 전문으로 제게는 다 서치 제용수는 빼 보드 망보지. 되네 안에 보게 다 사제 제목에 용 트레이트에서 빼 보드 망보지. 그래서 그래서지 로비안고 안에 되니 돈 시바 되니 그 단다라 되는 뭔지 라마고 맞춰게 되니 송이야 버려. 되니 제 인도다 로비안 세야다 기체무지 디스
And so here's something that I thought I should say today. So some people think that Mahamudra, in the Mahamudra tradition, all you have to do is get an introduction to the nature of mind and meditate, and that you don't actually really need to study. They think, how do you really need to study? I think all you need to do is meditate. And many people think that. But there are kind of differences. Of course, there are people who can do that, but there are differences in the faculties of people. There are two types of people. We can say those that can have to go through stages, and one who can kind of do everything all at once, or that they are on an immediate path. But those who are of that sharp faculty on that immediate path have already done some training in the past, and they have the fortunate karma or the fortunate merit to be able to do that. And so even without a lot of hearing and contemplation, they have the fortunate karma and meet with the master, the guru, who has the blessings, and through their devotion to that guru, they can, without a lot of study, they can directly introduce them into that path. But for most people, that's a very, very rare case, and very, very few people are able to do that. And so for most people, they need to practice in stages. And so they need to go through these stages and study. And so Sita Panchen, in his commentary, he says that hearing, contemplation, and meditation, each of them has a cause and effect relation from one to the next. And so if you want to generate the wisdom coming from meditation, you need to think about what's the cause of that wisdom of meditation, and that is the wisdom of contemplation. And if you want to generate the wisdom of contemplation, you need to think about what the causes of that, and that is the wisdom of hearing. And so they have a relationship that the former acts as a cause of the latter. And so without the previous, you cannot have the next. And so if you want all of that, then if you want to practice that, then you need to practice them in stages. And so if you were to try to meditate without having that hearing contemplation, then you wouldn't even know what you were meditating on. And so first you need to hear the teachings to be able to even know what they're talking about. And if you don't do that, you won't even know what the meaning of Mahamudra is. And then if you don't contemplate, you won't ever get to a certainty. You won't cut through your misconceptions about what you've heard. If you did hear but you don't contemplate, then you won't know what that is. And without having that certainty of cutting through misconceptions, then there's no way to meditate. And so it's like the example of an arrow and wanting to shoot an arrow at a target. If you don't even see the target in the first place, then you can't actually hit the target with your arrow. And so first you need to have that view introduced to you. Then you need to cut through all of your misconceptions about that view to gain a certainty. And then once you've done that, meditation becomes easy because you know what you're doing and you have a certainty about that. And so that's why hearing and contemplation, that is the study of Dharma, is so important. So many people do think that in order to meditate, you don't really need to study. But if that were the case, then why would the Buddha have taught the 108 collections, 108 volumes of scripture? What would be the point of all of that if we weren't supposed to study it? Similarly, just in the Indian tradition of Mahamudra texts, there are so many volumes of Indian scholars' Mahamudra texts. And in addition to that, there are a great number of the texts of the past Tibetan masters who have taught many, many volumes of teachings of the Mahamudra. And if they were not intending for us to study it, they would have never taught those things or made those teachings. So I just thought that's something that I should start today's teaching with. And so we're here in this section of the text where we're talking about confirming the view or establishing the view. And so what we discussed yesterday was the way that Marpa Lotsawa had introduced Milarepa to the view, and in that he taught Milarepa that all appearances are mind, that mind is emptiness, that emptiness is spontaneous presence, and that spontaneous presence is self-liberation. And so similarly here, we learned in this text, we were introduced to the fact that appearances do not inherently exist. They don't exist as something truly, they don't have any true existence, but they are a mere emanation or magical emanation of the mind. And so now we're going to continue on that point. So we're at the verse in the middle of page 3. We mistake self-appearance, which has never existed, to be an object. Under ignorance's power, we mistake self-awareness to be a self. Under the power of dualistic fixation, we wander in the expanse of samsara. May we get to the bottom of ignorance and delusion. And so the first here where we say we mistake self-appearance which has never existed to be an object. So all of these things that appear as outer objects, whether we're talking about the outer container universe that is our external environment and world, or whether we're talking about the beings that exist within that world, anything that appears as an object to us, they don't exist truly in the way that they appear to us, but they are all mere appearances or emanations of the mind. And so they are awakenings or activations. They are coming from an activation or an awakening of mental imprints that have been placed in our foundational consciousness or alaya consciousness since beginningless time. And through this confusion or mistake of mind, they are seen as something which truly exists as an external object. And so even though they do not exist in that way, even though they are not established truly as such external objects, they appear in that way, just like the appearances of a dream. So the appearances of a dream, even though they do not truly exist in the way they appear to us, through a mistake of mind or a confusion of mind, all kinds of things can appear in a dream, and they appear to us as if they were real or true. And that's the same as what the Buddha said in the sutras, that he said that all three realms are mere mind. And so the three realms of the desire realm, the form and formless realms, are all merely mind, but are not something which truly exists. And so the next line reads, under ignorance is power, we mistake self-awareness to be a self. And so we've already seen or discussed that external objects are merely mind, but are not in any way truly existing. But what about that mind which grasps them as being true? And so that mind also, by the power of ignorance, is mistaken and confused as a self.
Te marapa tina tene ngen mazong ngen thong mazong saya de lebi yor ta tendo ke marapa saya de ani chi tindi ngubo chi ma thong ma la tina ani marapa de song de.
And so we need to understand, it would be good for us to have a bit of an understanding of this word ignorance. So saying that you're ignorant of something is the same as saying you didn't see something. And so so even the words in Tibetan that are ignorance, is the word for not knowing is the same word that could also be saying I didn't see it or I don't see it. And so where did this ignorance come from? Is that ignorance there from the beginning? And it's not, because what we say as ignorance is it means that there's something and you didn't see that thing. And so that's what we mean by ignorance.
Ta ona marapa che ta ngacho marapa ta kanre lebi yorisi su marapa risi ta tele mudwa marapa se ngo bo je marapa ma thongwa de tine song risi de ona ngacho su marapa ri su ma thongwa risi ti tawa de lebi.
And so how is it that that ignorance comes about then? What is it that we didn't see, or who is it that we didn't see?
Wata te kare risi ngaro so ke senje ne lo te mare senje ne lo te ma to ondu.
And it's that true nature of mind, our own nature of mind that we didn't see, that we didn't realize, and that's why we have ignorance, or that's what on the basis upon which we say ignorance.
charwa teni ani sanje kosong ga dani semje ne lo ji ta semje chama ga ju de yewa yin ma le wa ta di dong de ngarang zo ge ma thong di dong de ma do di dong de ma re ta teni le tin na teni nga zo ge ji semje ne lo pe ko da me ba yin ma la teni nga zo da me ba tong ba ni yin ba ge tong ma do ne teni da me ba la da de ze 아니 참 덴버트바요 말이대 아니 데 덴버트바니든 제나 디 단젠당 덴젠당 아니 지 샘제네로 마통무차 와다 데라니 마르가 시나 단서 콜와 참아 그 자완로다 토만로지 딘디비소메요.
And so that nature of mind, as we discussed before, is the empty essence of Dharmakaya, the luminous nature of Sambhogakaya, and the unceasing display of all phenomena of the compassionate display of unceasing arising of all phenomena of samsara nirvana as Nirmanakaya. It is the essence of the three kayas, and that nature of mind, that essence of the three Buddha bodies, exists in the mind stream of all sentient beings. And when we don't know that meaning, when we don't see that meaning, when we don't realize that meaning, we are ignorant of that meaning. And because of that, we have this true nature, this nature of mind, which is selfless and empty, but we hold that which is selflessness to be a self. And we hold that which is not truly established to be truly established. And that is our ignorance. Our ignorance is that of not seeing selflessness, but seeing it as self, and not seeing the lack of true existence and holding it as being truly existent. And that is the fundamental ignorance, which is the root of samsara.
Yang maribu shibate lo sinji lo de lo karisina semje ne lo korang ge ran yin de utsarwa rikwa ge ran yin ba de rikwa utsarwa ge ran yin ba de wa ta de lo ngarang zo ko maribu ma thong wa cha de de lo sinji lo la cha de yo ris da nan yin 다 나랑서 그 남진 즉 단전세야 당 덴전세야 돼서 데멀로 짓대 그때 나 여러 와서 난지마테 즉 소소 그 연대 연삼산로 로 신경 말로 반로 로 zon도 여러 다 무보 그 내로 돼서도 되네 다 이제 제연도 다 세야 돼 동담말 좀만 무보 내로 들어요 대인도 즉 다든지마테 로 신경로 차도 로 트루아가 로 차도요. 다가나 이세 요르라서 바 데먼즈마가 로 대양 아니 딜로 대양 로 트루바리나. 가르신 요르 데먼 트바지 문도. 요 데먼 트바 메바지 그 취라 되는 나서다 데먼즈인데 바임바이나. 아니 딜로데 로 신절로 로 트루바르바. 나무도 있잖아. 가르시 지 뭐 주마지라 아니 지 등무보다 데먼이든 젠데 바임바이나. 어디 로든 로 신절로 들어와. 왔다 때를 줘 왔다 차가 열리지. 근데 말을 봤어야 돼. 딱 담보 고알린 거야도 기침 못해. 되는 나도 그 콜와기다 자와. 아니 이제 레당 뉴몽바다 동안 참 그치 저도 자원도 돼. 딱 말을 받아. 나든지 받아. 덴버든지 뭐 어떻다 소리 차도 열리지. 다때 강남의 성도 되는 semjinelo 아니 델티는 성도가 가렐라 델티는 성 요리시나 티 동마도만다 티나 되네 말어부터 성 요리 다다 줄라마가 나네다 딘디게 마치 노야서 시보에 드르마트서 성 요리.
And so ignorance is a perverted mind. It is a mind which sees things incorrectly. And so the real nature of mind is that pure luminous awareness of Rigpa, pure awareness. And by not seeing that awareness, or seeing that incorrectly, is a perverse mind or a mistaken mind. And so similarly, it's the same when we talk about self-grasping and grasping things as being truly existing. But we may think, I exist, right? Of course I exist. But that itself is a incorrect or a perverted, a mistaken state of mind. Because when we think about this in terms of the true nature and what really exists in the ultimate truth, then that self and self-grasping does not exist. We're grasping something which is selfless as having a self, and that is a mistaken or perverted mind. And it's the same when we think about outer objects, not just in our subjective mind, but when we look at outer objects and we see them as being something truly existing. That also is a perverted or mistaken mind, because we're grasping something which is not truly existing or which is not established as something true or real, and we're seeing it as being true or real. And so those are mistaken minds or perverted minds. And so it's important for us in the beginning then to have a good understanding of what we mean by ignorance. And so this ignorance then is the root of samsara, and it is the fundamental cause or the fundamental root of karma, afflictions, and all suffering. And so that cause then is fundamental ignorance, grasping at truth, grasping at self. And where does that come from then? That comes from the true nature of mind. But what does that mean to say that it comes from the true nature of mind? It means that by not realizing the true nature of mind, then that ignorance arises, and that incorrect state of mind or incorrect understanding or mistaken state of mind comes around. And so the stage of coming from the nature of mind, or that Buddha nature, and then the stages of falling into ignorance are clearly explained in the Uttara Tantra, or the Sublime Continuum text.
아니 된 짐바보가 다 신나 다다 yin 신나 되는데 로라 뭔도 다디 니지다 세종 열라 덴버 짐바다 아니 난 짐바스나 아니 다다 짐바 어떻게 민제 왕기 신나다 시블롱의 참지는 코랄만 참도 요리스 되는 맞아 봐 다다 차고 요리 되는 yin 당이 요리 되는 서로 그 요르트솔 덴버 존 사드 요 예도 용한테서 맞어 아니 제양 심바지 한다 진짜 용문 더 자지 해요 다양 서요 아니 제 예도 몸바 되는 데먼제 마이마이나 딱 맞아 소양 될 시랑 모두 봐도 오지 해요 되는 양 대 예도 소소 로라 마바당 로다 마바바 강야 마이바게 되는 그 단념도 소라 무슨 뒤내로도 메시 받지는 또 뭐가 뭔도 딘딜라 띠나 다 뇽몽바치 차동 무섭지 다 뇽몽바 차동 무섭지 줄지 영화이나 딜레사 그러고 레 먹게 봤어 그래 소소르지 예도 엄마 그거부터서 토반다 바게 치다라 되네 소주 마젠발린 아니 딘데 더벨로 버리엠 되네 전시 되네 참아세 되네 딘데 동물 바탕자 되네 나신 로다 사만 용도 딘딜티 차단으로 되는 다디 먹여왔다 근데 먹여왔죠 그래서 아니 근데 네 레사안데 근데 된데버데 데버 침부터서 아니 진열와라 소방에 성했지 근데 때 많이 봐야나요 다다 아니 진 말지 봐야나요 딱 강다 아니 좀 먹여볼래 사기 그래 탄지 그 줘서 가브는 소치 사기 지게와 아 어쩌야 사운드 토리를 지해요리 플라다만라서 다 먹여 침부터서 사는데 망는 성했지 근데 콜바시도 나서 지 콜로 나이지라와 근데 토리를 지 가브는 낸도를 지 근데 지 모다가 콜로 나이지 근데 나서 세바 매번 코한다 뚜토마 매번에 다다 말이 받다 들리기 참되 그리스 다동형 나서 그지 사제 제목이 생분내로도 마도 사무동만이 그 동 딘딜 띠는 즉 단전인데 말을 받아서 빵 마터 바이바이나 대 단전인다 근데 즉 딘딜 말을 받여 받 대시도 되네 에너지 따다다 니난글로 해야 돼 니난글로 띠는 차당지 해야 돼 차당의 띠는 먹여버려서 해야 돼 먹여버릴 띠는 되는 거서 좀 콜와당 nenrodan tene chi di korwa ge donga na so ba je ga na je la so ba donga mong bu chi je yo ris ten de ni zen wang de si ba long cha ta din de yin de ta ma re ba ge tur ba ge 자완로지 처벌쇼 송마데 다티 자와데 추고가 임바이나 되네 이제 저봐 아 ramzumi 시 sentinel도 또고 그리 다티 또버쇼지 송마데
And so we have these external appearances which have never truly existed in an ultimate sense, but we mistake them as being some truly existing external objects. And we have our inner mind, subjective consciousness, which is without self, but through our ignorance we mistake that as being a self. And so we have now the duality of self as an inner subjective mind and objects being an outer. So we have that duality of subject-object duality. And so from that duality we begin to have from that distinction of self and other, then we will start to have attachment towards some objects and revulsion towards others. By seeing that external object as being truly existing, then those things that we have some that are pleasant or attractive to us, then we will have attachment or desire towards those things. And seeing external objects as truly existing, and seeing something which is not attractive or not pleasant to us, then we have some revulsion or anger towards that. And then those things that neither are particularly attractive or unattractive to us, we have ignorance to them if we see them as being truly existent. And so, from our ignorance and from that duality then comes the afflictions of attachment, anger, and ignorance. And from those three afflictions, then we will accumulate negative karmas. And so, then in order to, for example, in order to obtain the objects of our desires, we will engage in all kinds of negative activities in any form of the 10 non-virtues, such as in order to obtain the object of our desire, we could kill, we could commit sexual misconduct, we could steal, we could lie, have meaningless conversations, we can divide others and so forth, we can have harmful intention, covetousness, wrong view, and so forth. And so, and from those, we are accumulating karma, which will bring results. If those are powerful non-virtues, if we're doing something very powerful, then can result in rebirth into the hell realms or otherwise in the lower realms. And otherwise, if even if we are accumulating, so not just negative karmas, but also what we call contaminated virtues, then some of those virtues, if we accumulate the proper contaminated virtues, then we'll be born into the higher realms. If we accumulate more contaminated non-virtues, then we'll be born in the lower realms. And that's why samsara is referred to as being like a wheel, or the wheel of samsara. And that is that sometimes we are born up into the higher realms and sometimes we fall back into the lower realms and so forth. And so we've been in this process since beginningless time through that beginningless ignorance. And that has continued all the way since beginningless time and up to now. And so until we realize that truth of the true nature of Mahamudra, or emptiness, until we are able to abandon that ignorance, which is the ignorance of grasping at the self and grasping at a true existence, then we will continue to have a dualistic appearance, or dualistic grasping. And from that dualistic grasping comes the afflictions of attachment and aversion and ignorance. And from those afflictions comes a generation of non-virtuous karma, or karma in general, which leads to continued experience and suffering in samsara, various sufferings of samsara, such as birth, aging, sickness, and death. So, now the prayer at the end of this section is, may we get to the bottom of ignorance and delusion. So what we're actually hoping for, what we're praying for, is to really cut the root of ignorance. And the way to cut the root of ignorance is actually to realize that self-arising primordial wisdom of pure awareness. And so what we're actually praying for when we say, may we get to the root of, or may we cut the root of ignorance, is may we realize the nature of mind.
단 너네 막 가르치면 요즘에다 삼동이도 못 되고 하세요. 아니 삼라지메가 아니 동반이는 되는 거 같아 대송 해야돼. 되나? 이거 많이 잘했죠 맞아. 매번 많이 군대 거인데 이제 가든 많이 숨겨 오면 다들 생기 중에 또 버리시고.
So the next verse is introducing or showing that mind itself is emptiness, and it reads, "Not something, it is not seen even by Buddhas. Not nothing, it is the ground of all samsara nirvana. This is not a contradiction, it is a unity, the middle way. May we realize the mind's nature beyond extremes."
다 대송인데 가르치면 요즘에는 다 스럽게 나왔대서 아니 내말 맞아봐. 아니 산자마도 봐. 내말 줘보면 봐. 공대 들리면送了. 다 오나 샘데 내말 줘봐지 여러배 시다데 러버데. 대인데 대양이요 말이지. 샘서야 여보 많이 잘외장 맞아. 시디 샘시바지 내말 줘봐당 아니 샘 무보당 여반도 아니 두섬 그 잘와데다 탐지 그 대나야 저요 말이. 마음바야 저번요 말이. 다다야 저요 말이지. 대인데 여보 많이 잘외장 맞아. 다 산지 그 맞아 보이면이나 다때 매발아. 요는 아니지 산지 그 쳔바데 탐전 쳔바게 아니 이시를 차도 요리 되는데 뒤 맞아 근데 다 산세데 데메트 바요 말이지. 여보 많이 잘외장 맞아.
And so we in the previous verse we saw that all of the external appearances don't truly exist but are mere mind. And so the question may arise, well then what about mind? Does mind truly exist? And so this verse is then an answer to that question where it says that's not the case, that mind does not truly exist. It does not exist as any substantial entity. And it says then that even the Buddhas do not see that. So none of the Buddhas of the three times, they have not seen it in the past, they will not see that in the future, and they do not see it now. And if it's not seen by the Buddhas, then it's not the case, because the Buddhas are omniscient. And so if the Buddhas see that that's not the case, then that is not the case. If they see that it doesn't exist as something truly existing, then it's not.
텐데 여보마이 세인데 즉 샘시바지 무보 접대바지 중세된 요 말이지. 다르데 무서 제지바 무주도지 그다다 데 다주 접신는 송이래. 다 자게 차시지 자동 된데 그 그박 차시에 자면은 이제 무보테다 담지 데메트바요 말이송. 답변을 짜지는 배 차와차와로 내가 차시 현재 차와 중세된 도요마스 배트는 그 송. 대나지 니나는 여바마인 시디 아니 삼세야 돼. 지 되네 뭐고 여바 아니 지 되네 되네 중세 차시 자면 도요 말이지. 근데 여바마인
And so it says
중세대 산제 좀 맞아 설송을 되게 송으로. 찹데스 될 어느 산제가 맞는 매바에 왜 차와 열었으나 열었지 산제대 다 탐진 쳔매 이시 너무 그다 차지 차와 맞는 번 쳔밖에 남진기 이 열어 봐. 어떠한데 여번만이 잘외죠 맞아.
And so the mind is not something that exists as any substantial entity. And the eighth Karmapa Mikudorji in his commentary to the entering the middle way, it's called the chariot of And so the eighth Karmapa Mikudorji in his commentary to the Madhyamakavatara entering to the middle way, which is called the chariot of the Dakpo lineage, he says that even if you took a hair and split it hundreds of thousands of times, not even a single tiny part of that is established as anything real. And so even down in the most subtle way, there's nothing which is truly established or truly existing. And so what it says here then is that it's not something that exists. And the reason they say, so it follows that that it does not exist as anything. And the reason they give is because the Buddhas don't see it in that way. And we can say that that's a pervasive reasoning. Why can we say that just because the Buddhas didn't see it, it doesn't exist? Well, that's because the Buddhas are omniscient.
어느 선대 매발에서는 어떤 매번 많이 건데 근지지에서 다 선대 제형 매방의 소지들이 남과동만도 제형 매방형 말이지 다른 나서 건드셔봐나지 콜와기 딱 말해봐 대양 아니 지 선전내로 말해봐 델르티나 되는 콜와가 주되다 단지 만 좋은 것도 와 되는 영이는 내가 타바세 돼요 나도 타바세도 가해 탄로에 열으시나 딱 나는서 그 선전내로 대또네 아니 대또 언제 되는 대를 좋은로 그 열이 되는 지 영이는 내가 그 열이 사마야 아니 지 선거 다와 그rangi 어떻게 양문도 줄어라네 델르티는 영이는 내가 되다 단지 좋은 열이 되는데 매번 많이 선도 뛰네요 제형 매번 말이지 그러다 영이는 내가 단지 기타 그 탐지는 용어가 이었대 네 따따다 대신인 모르겠어 말해서 선리지
And so then the question will arise, well, if you're saying that the mind is not something that exists, then is it absolute nothingness? Is it utterly non-existent? And then that is also not the case. So the next line says, not nothing, it is the ground of all samsara and nirvana. And so it is the ground of samsara and nirvana because by ignorance, by being ignorant of that nature of mind, then from that comes all of samsara. And also nirvana then comes from recognition or realizing the nature of that mind. And so all of those qualities of nirvana arise and become manifest from mind through that realization. And so therefore mind is not some utter nothingness. It is actually, mind itself is the source of everything in samsara and nirvana.
사라하기 다다 가레손 열지나네 강르스에 단영인된 조와 넓은 말을 땐제 이위 논르선 산서로시나 강르시방 코르와당 아니 제원영인은 대바 대참 용하기 이해돼 나도 그 선전내록들이 다 선전내록들 이위인줄 놀고 근도 말로가 용하기 이해라고 선전내록이 손에 드는 손이 되는데 근데 건지 용하기 이해 근데 건지 내록대 아니 선이 되는데 선도 매바양 말이지.
And Saraha said, I supplicate to, or I pay homage to that nature of mind, which is the source of all samsara and nirvana. It is the wish-fulfilling gem that grants all that's wished for. And so it's not something non-existent, but is actually the source of all samsara and nirvana.
선도 여바양 리만도 매바양 리만도 다 유민이가 노래베스 가와지 간도스 어때요 말이지 다 선데 여바간 탈레야 조르도요리 매바간 탈레야 조르도요리 간도 많이 송주 오마랑 유민이가 간 탈레 조르도요리 아니 오마시도 가자 무슨 님이시야 니니시야 오마시도 타강 레양 만네버데가 오마시는 데리비시요리 데는 유미 니가 그타는데 봐 아니 dindi지 임바인데 내지 din디 센데 지 오사와다 아니 지 동반이 손을 줘봐 유미 니가 그냥 탈에 들어가게 손을 줘봐 어머그 동대에서 되는 다 유미라서 봐 타다 탐지에서 들어가게 센지 주니데 또 보셔지스.
And so the mind neither exists nor is non-existent. And so then the question may arise, is it both existent and non-existent? And so then it says this is not a contradiction, it is a unity, it's the middle way. So it is free from the extreme of existence and also free from the extreme of non-existence. It is free from both extremes and therefore is the middle way. And this is something that we discussed before, that when we say the middle way, it means that it does not abide in any extreme. And so that true nature of mind then is the unity of clarity or luminosity and emptiness. It is that union which is free from the extremes of existence and non-existence. And then the prayer here is, may we realize mind's nature beyond the extremes of existence and non-existence.
더구나 다 유민이가 근탈에 자와리다리 탈에 자와리 어나 지 선대 임바다 마임바 된데 가능용 베이스나 대형 말씀 된다니 마 대인 시바 강는 전반미 데미시자 강격과 로런데 주인 되마세 양다 동전 타는 게 버쇼.
So the next verse, so that one said, okay, so well, mind neither exists nor is non-existent, but is it, this is kind of hard to say in English, does it exist as being something or not being something else? And so the verse reads, nothing indicates this, saying it is this. Nothing negates this, saying it's not that or it's not this. Beyond the intellect, dharmata is not composite. May we realize the perfect ultimate truth.
대인 시바 세데타 삼텔은 단르지 요리 신은 아니 제 빼지 않은 빼고 고가네 아니 총토가 말이지. 어느 삼텔 단르지 땅에서 그치 생근내로 세 사자 전부 조바 전부 아니 제 되니까 다 생전내로 기록이 받았으면 오마시 맹몸보 제 따로 요리데 다 같이 맹 파다 협어 마도 바기 맹당 빼당 아니 강게양 아니 지금 천박에 요 탐기는데 내가 이 말이지. 되는 대인 시바 강은 천박이
And so when we say
이건 총토가 말이지. 즉 설탕 빼당 맹당 아니 그 강게양 총토야 말이지. 되는 내가 이 말이지.
And so when it says nothing indicates this, saying it is this, it means that we can't use any words, names, or examples to actually signify that nature of mind. So we give many names to it. We call it Mahamudra, we call it Dzogchen, we call it the pure nature of mind, we call it pure awareness, perfection of wisdom, and so forth. But those are just mere names. They're mere imputations of names. But actually that nature is beyond any kind of words, examples, or names, and they cannot directly signify that true nature.
참선좀 하소게는 이제 산대 전세를 뻔나 어느 삼뚱이리 뻔나 남관로열이 시티니 송해열이 대다 뒤지 다 빼겠자 천바점마도 바기 생것뚱이 제다와 얘는 남관건 송도요 말이야. 다나 이 양참찬도 지 섬도 살와가 차리시 이제 다섬 살와리지 뻔나 녀먼도 되니 빼 오사와열이지 되니 시에리 다 대도연 생것 사자데 소잠 그 되니 빼지 않는 것도 다 탑시 매발이 섬도 저저자기 방못 줘봐 마도 바기 다 무서는 이제 다 생각내로 그 살와가라니 던다오지 열이스나 빼 소야요 말이도 빼내요 말이지.
And so sometimes in order to show this, you know, we'll talk about the empty aspect of mind and we'll say, oh, mind is like space. But this is a mere example and it cannot directly or perfectly signify mind. It cannot perfectly show what mind is. It's a mere example to help introduce something. Similarly, when we're talking about the luminous nature of mind, the luminous aspect or the awareness aspect of mind, we'll say that mind is clear, mind is luminous like the sun. And so we can just use this as a method because there's no other way to kind of introduce that or no other way to signify that. So we use these examples, but they're just merely showing some aspect of mind, but they cannot directly signify that nature of mind.
Yeah, 아니지 삼대 더 아니지 삼근내로 말이 아니지 내 삼근내로 텐데 여바 말이 아니 대삼 말이세 당에서 그 텐데 짜당 집 텐데 마삼된 띵 바바가 갑 텐데 제 가도 라오지 로여리데 다 아니지 다삼 제다와 얘네 양 아니지 nden 라오지 요 말이세나 마까고나야 네 가야요 말이세 데메시자 관계가 보면 스카트고 말이세.
And so, similarly then, it says nothing negates this, saying it's not this. So, in terms of, we can't say, this is not the nature of mind, this is not this is not that. When we're actually discussing in philosophical ways how to establish what the nature of mind is or not, then we do use this type of language, like to establish or negate, to kind of prove what the nature of mind is. But that doesn't actually get at or negate what the true nature of mind is. That's only like language that's used when we're discussing philosophically, but in the actual nature, none of this applies. And the reason that is the case is because it's beyond intellect. Dharmata is not composite. And that nature, that true nature, is beyond ordinary mind. It's beyond naming. It's beyond designation by words and letters. It's beyond all such concepts.
근데 아니 그때 델로바티 가레송여리스는 사기 강가만근나네 로이 동지 론데 동마도 세부취지 삶이 동마도 론데 삶이 취던 통도나 르빠제주 심리제주 르빠주르쇼 센데네서 혼도 된 로이 취지 로는 대바가 동나도 통도 말이지 세바신 두제그 그 개완로제그 세부취지 아니 지 두제는 대송하기 아니 지 삶이 그 동대다 담에 또도 말이지 다 원아 론데 삶이 취도 통 도거나 가려거리시나 심리제 주세 삼전에로 대자제 근데 저빠 마주버 저번에 냠버지야 어떤 딘디 그거는 또야마도 바기 나랑도 그 사모당 아니 지 딘디 다 제바세 딘디 마테는 파파마도 바가 무슨 쳇다와 진도 또고도 양또 투 말이지.
And Tilopa said that that which is beyond mind can't be realized by mind, and that which is uncontaminated can't be realized by a contaminated mind. And so if you want to realize that which is uncontaminated and beyond ordinary mind, then you need to cut through to the root of the true nature and place yourself in meditative equipoise in that nature in order to realize it. And no kind of composite thinking and examining will get at that. It will only help you to establish what it is, but it's not going to help you directly realize it.
산제 샤주바가 까라네 다 투몽기 투바가 나네 산지기 아니 시럽은 조 로마다 가리리스는 다다는데 샤르버리 다 투바 침모가 로마가 나네 시럽은 조다 조바다 가리리스는 다 지준 잠바야네 다 녀마지 지준 잠바양 그 두르자가 동다다 산제라다 아니 지 선그네로도 간데 요리스는 산제라야 드랍푸디 근데 산제가 렌제양 맞잡는 데는 녀마지야 샤바르. 된 냠을 자차도다 다네 냠을 시람 초인도 디 내lok도 하고송하데. 다 뭐유세나 다 링문에도 대리 산제가 잡이어리세. 다 산제고 산다 동바리 사와리 산는데 여리세 망보지 해 대바 인마이나 제타와지는 시 토용도. 다다 심지 내lok도 무슨 비지 삼바기 요런데서. 아니지 네 나선 주미시나 나와다 삼바 조바가 요런데 대바지리스 다 데르지 시엔데 다 빼자 소자마도 바가 돈째다 와지는 시에 통도 데르다 산지 좀데 내가 린제 맞아바데 니제 린양 다바데 차나 데니 제진다 뭐양 같은데 또리 있으나 다 데니 손네.
And so when the Buddha was still in this world, then in the kind of common vehicle of teachings, his among his students, the most wise was said to be Shariputra. And of the Mahayana disciples, the most wise was said to be Manjushri. And so one time, in order to help others, Manjushri came and asked the Buddha Shakyamuni, what is the nature of mind? And Buddha Shakyamuni gave no answer at all, but rested in meditative equipoise. And because Manjushri was of such supreme wisdom, he directly understood the meaning. And even though the Buddha had not given an answer, he gave the supreme answer. And if the Buddha had said, the nature of mind is empty and clear and profound and luminous and whatnot, then that would have given some kind of direction at the answer, but it would not have been able to directly signify or been the actual answer. So something which is actually beyond ordinary mind, beyond concept, which is inexpressible, unthinkable, and unspeakable, just using those kind of words, even saying inexpressible, unthinkable, and so forth, only kind of show some side or some angle about what that nature is, but cannot directly represent it. So by not giving any answer whatsoever, the Buddha gave the ultimate answer, the authentic answer, and Manjushri realized it as such.
된디다 삼년내로 때 아니지 나선 주바가 열린데바 주탐지 주니 되니 주인들 마세스 대답은 이제 양답받네로 다 동대 다 니바랑 또벌 쇼지 되니 다다 생지 담지가 또벌 쇼지 또 원아 로그는 로그는 요len데도 근데 나선 주미디잖아 간다고 또 그러시나 다들 소소랑 이시 아니 지티 곰바 냠야키 시라 이시 이니다 아니 소소랑 붙여도 되는 것도 그래 다 되는데 한다 동자 타는 버쇼.
And so that true nature, which is beyond expression, beyond thought, and beyond words, which is beyond any objects, it is the true nature of all phenomena, and it is an uncomposite thing. And so we are praying then that we and all sentient beings can realize the truth of that. And so if this is beyond objects of mind, and if this is inexpressible and unthinkable and so forth, then how are we to even realize it? And it says, then we have to realize this by way of our self-cognizing primordial wisdom in meditative equipoise. And so we pray then that may we realize this through our meditative equipoise in the self-cognizing primordial wisdom. So in the Dzogchen aspiration prayer, it says that to express this, even the Buddha's tongue is feeble. That it's basically saying even the Buddha could not express this. And as much as and when you speak more about the truth, you get further from it. And the closer you get to it, the less thoughts you'll have about it, and the less you'll talk about it. And in the pramana tradition or the logic tradition, you can spend an entire day just debating about, arguing about vases.
tumba da tenjong sungjuk de mangarwa se ya ta khasang tumni hmendro to mote ba se ya te hmendro se ya te ani chi ta na to song ju ba ta ta te le chi yo re te la deni ma to khor jang song khor deni to na sanje yin tamjin de ne me kayang chuni kun yin sang ne ro sho.
And so the next section is showing that the union of emptiness and dependent arising is not a contradiction. And basically this is the same thing as saying that introducing emptiness as spontaneous presence, that is, as the union of appearance and emptiness. And so the text reads, not realizing this, we circle in the ocean of samsara. If this is realized, Buddha is not elsewhere. Everything is this, there's nothing that's not this. May we know Dharmata, exposing the all bases.
Deni mato korwa jansong kor deni to na sanje jinami sengi samje nelo deni mato ba yimba yena tani ngazo an korwa jamdo kor do de ta teri ngazo temre yena chuni longjong go ne korwa kordo re ba mara ba si tambo ye ba samje nelo de mato onde ta mara ba yoyu ba ba mara ba ye ba yo ne zong de teni de ka lesa teni mara de teni na phi go ne ta jewan ta robot do yin samja teni mara de na phi manzo kimchi to ko so je wa ga shi sin ta temre yana chuni longyong ge teni ngame go korwa na jin zo ne korwa ma kordo yoris.
And so not realizing this, we circle in the ocean of samsara. So if we don't realize that true nature of mind, then we circle in the ocean of samsara by way of the engagement or the entrance into the 12 links of dependent arising. So not realizing this means that we have ignorance. So of course we have ignorance because we do not realize that truth, and that ignorance then leads to the accumulation of compounding karma. That karma leads to the arising of consciousness, which leads you to take birth into the 6 realms of samsara and so forth into the further 12 links of dependent arising. And you then continue turning in samsara like the wheel of fire.
Deni to no sanje yin mi sidita sanje ne lo deni to ba yin ba yin na tene ne sanje yang ane deni ngombar zo ba sanje ba ri si sanje ne lo ta yang ta ba ane jin tar sim ba to ba yin na ane sanje ba ri si deni du ji ta sanje ne lo ta to ondu sanje ne lo ta re ondu ta mar ba dang ga na do sanje ne lo ta re so mar ba deni du mar ba dang ga do yo ta mar ba ane ji da de jin ba te me ba yin na tene ne ji ti de je ga le sa ma do te ne mar ba de man je ba ga lo de me ba yin na te me ba yin na tene ta dang je de me ba yin ta cha dang je ma do dang je lo me na cha dang lo je yo cha dang do me na tene me ge ba la so ba ga le sa ma do ta te le ma sa na tene ta kro ba le je ma ba ma so kro ba le tene bi je de ba te so ga le sa ki ge wa ka she sa ndu thori de je no le tene yang sake je mage wa le sang du ma so ngai song de je na do ta tene yang ngai song thori kan je na yang di le de so mi di le de so nyong tene yang ja tene yang ni ma gi le kan pe ju de ge yang je ro wa du ka wa je ko na ti du ko de yo de de ta mar ba me na du ji le sa yo ma ri du ji le ma sa ba ye na tene ji na fi la so ba ge je wa yin na ngai sam jo yo ma ri de 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 ju yin na then we are doing the look go and garden, then Sanjay.
And so then it says, if this is realized, Buddha is not elsewhere. And so if you have a complete and perfect realization of that nature, then that is the attainment of Buddhahood. And so if you realize or see that true nature, if you are knowledgeable of that, that means that you have ceased to be ignorant of that. You no longer have ignorance, or ignorance has ceased. And so if you do not have that ignorance of self-grasping, then you will not accumulate compounding karma. So without self-grasping, there will be no attachment and aversion, which will mean that there is no accumulation of karma, which means you won't be born into samsara. And so some people then are led into samsara by their accumulation, or their existence in samsara is continued by the accumulation of contaminated virtues, which lead them to be born into the higher realms. Some continue their existence in samsara by accumulating contaminated non-virtue, which leads them into the lower realms. But wherever you're born and you experience the ripening of your karma, and you continue in that cycle of karma until and you continue in that cycle, being reborn again and again into whichever of the 6 realms of existence, and continue that cycle. But if you see that truth and you no longer have ignorance, if your ignorance has ceased, then you will no longer have attachment and aversion, which means you will no longer accumulate that compounding karma. And without that compounding karma, you won't have a consciousness which continues your existence into the 6 realms. So this is the what's called the reversal of the 12 links of dependent origination, and that reversal of the 12 links leads to the attainment of Buddhahood at the cessation of taking rebirth and so forth.
What's a mato bagi, then it's a mubo, or then it's a garoki, mubo chip, then the maris. Then it's a chutam chuni. Quinji, Sidita, Kunde Quinji, and it's Jay Bagachan, Quinji, Simantagri, Teta Naranzo, Namshi Sobjek and Nanishebaka, Quinji, Tade, that the Quinji, and they not tell the course on a young Namshi Sobjek and Quinji, Namshi was Sanjanello Chayo Mari. Then it's a Kunde Quinji, Jay Bagachan, Quinji. Sang the rubber show the door, tin sound the young, so Jun Sang Rogan, Sang Mari. Tin that Korangan, Momento, Jetawaji, Pogdo, Euro, Dendo, that death over showed you, rubber showed you, Tin Malana.
And so, the final line here then says that may we know Dharmata, exposing the all basis. And so, says everything is this, there's nothing that's not this. May we know Dharmata, exposing the all basis. So basically there's nothing which can be established or that can be negated in terms of that true nature. There's no nature which is some kind of existing or truly existing thing that we can either establish or negate. And it is the nature of all things. And this all basis is a translation of the term alaya. And Rinpoche explained then that this alaya is not talking about the alaya when we're talking about the place where habitual tendencies or mental imprints are placed in terms of a presentation of the 8 consciousnesses. What we're talking about here is the all ground, meaning the basis of all samsara and nirvana. And exposing that all basis means, can we see what the real source of that basis is? Meaning, can we see the true, authentic all basis, the real, authentic all ground?
대다 답이 지자 처방만 봐서는 생존의 것들다 아니지 다다한테 다시 제박 딱 봐라. 근데 지자 처방만 봐라. 나연선은 동연선인데 또자선은 그러는 것은 지자선은 가진 선인데 로도 탐지 선을 쳐버셔. 다 선지 지자 처바서 다 사베도 그도 망고지 고토면.
That's all. And so the next verse. Appearances are mind, emptiness is also mind, realization is mind, delusion is our own mind too. Arisen, it's mind, stopped, it's also mind. May we sever all misconceptions in the mind.
다과기 산지가 거도 생각이 있는 답은 나와 있나요? 어떤 담마인 밖에 지금 걸어가 넣어주게 되는지 지금 마다 나와 있나요? 어떤 대참 디세보 아니 지금 남대 받참 아니 지 소속의 선대자 마도 밖에 아니 지 이어 말해서 나는 선남대 그래 대린도 다과기 산지가 거도 생각돼서 아니 지 선다과가 또 남대요. 마다바다서 나서야 나서 선 마다바 뒤덮대기 걸어가기 마다바 로터서 되는 남도요. 동양 섬인데 지다 대 동이지 되듯이 수동도 이르시는야 선 코랑 동말 마도바기 선을 로즈 저바고 뭐지 인동대가 되네요 말이지. 동양 섬인데 남양 선 동양 섬 또정 상황 시대다 상교 내로 또세도 수도가 이르시는 다산 코랑도 내로 또도 여러분. 선 코랑 내로 마도가 인 또양도 된데 또양 선 또리지. 당에서 산이 야 조르세야양 되는 선 조르로 당 코르발에 마 칭시도 소칭도 요리진 선 코랑 칭도 요리. 된데 지 다 조르양랑 선 조르데 그래. 야 조르양 선 코랑 조르데 요리. 그래서 말이 된데 지다 탈바세야 당 아니 지 되는 코르와다 탈바세야 돼서 가래를 해 요리스나 탈을 쓰는 것도 지금 마ció알에 탈송하고 단다라고 알아봐. 대수 탈수 조르스는 선대 단전이다 명문바 말을봐 대래 존로도 될 타바지 된 비시에요. 딱 코로아시 근데 딱 가르비시에 요랬으면 양선대 단전이다 말을봐다 명문바다 다 되니까 마담 되게 챙로도 되는 거야. 마 코로아다 송스 코로아다 코르스 되는 비시에요. 대래는 지자상은 가진 세인데 신나다 제가 다 제와던 거고 참 선리스 지자상은 가진 세인데 되나시 당나서 없는 추드 드로근데 기체휘체휘데 가르시나다 로도 탄지 신나다 로도 탄다 되니 선도 참아되는 지 선거 때문에 되니 윈도고 그랬어 로도 탄지 선거 쪽으로 좀 말해.
And so when it says then that appearances are mind. So all appearances of samsara and nirvana are mind, whether we're speaking of the pure appearances of nirvana, that being the appearances of the Buddha bodies and the Pure Lands and so forth, or we're talking of the appearances of samsara, which are the impure appearances of both the container universe, that is the outer environment, or the inner world of beings which live inside of that. And so the pure appearances then are coming from the pure aspect of mind, and impure appearances are coming from the impure aspect of mind. And all of those are just mind itself. And so the pure appearances then are coming from that pure aspect of mind, and the impure ones then are coming from ignorance and afflictions from an impure aspect of mind. And so then it also says emptiness is also mind. And so when we talk about emptiness, what is empty? What are we talking about? What is it that is empty? Mind itself is empty. We're not talking about the emptiness of some other outer objects. We're talking about emptiness of mind itself. And then it says realization is mind. Delusion is our mind too. And so when we're talking about the realization of that true nature, who is it that realizes it? What is it that realizes it? Mind is what realizes it. And so delusion is also mind. So when we have delusion, when we have some confusion or mistake, it's mind itself that is deluded. And when there is liberation, it's mind that is liberated. So when we say being bound to samsara, it's mind that is bound. And when we say confusion of mind, we're speaking, or when we say confusion or mistake, we're talking, or delusion, we're saying it's the mind which is delusion. And when we say liberation from that delusion, it's mind which is liberated from that delusion. And so when we say freedom or liberation from samsara, that freedom is a freedom from bondage. And what is the bondage? The bondage is mind being bound by karma and afflictions and ignorance. And so being freed from that means that the mind becomes free from karma, self-grasping, ignorance, and affliction. And so when mind is bound then by ignorance, by self-grasping and so forth, then that's when we say falling into samsara or turning in samsara. And so then at the end it says then arisen its mind, stopped it's also mind. So no matter what happens then, it's all just a mental appearance. So may we sever all misconceptions in the mind. Also, any misconception that we may have about mind or about reality is also just something in your mind. And so the final aspiration then is may we sever all misconceptions, may we overcome or cut off all misconceptions about that nature in our mind.
룽학 쥐바 대선 도야는 배메시 전도 남되게 된디도 다다 진디 다 줄로 몽보가 나는 가시 이메이나다 배는 까톱 그 쥐바 아시 직 주로버 줄로 세안도 다 맹아 때만도 된디 까게 배메시 바가 까와제야 룽학 때는 된디 또요 그 까와제야 된디 타는 다 가시 얘는 지금 무드서 수노가 되시나 된디 that salon no the bus no this in combo drew up na tene kozo tene window tene lumat is a ta true say and the tie and down tene lucas samum zayan do kawaje and down tene gone taba dung momo yet tada zo ji luga to you lumat zo the tamba tene chulo momo yet tam number sanje be chulo te yang tele madawade doksore de number sanje be pitso the 선들어가 추르린도와 산je가 추가제 저번에 산je가 추지 공부 제대 제동 송요리스 다티 추지 공부 제대 제동 못해 가리던다 송네스 선지 담대가 뉴모가 제대 제동 들어와버던다 산je가 추지 공부 제대 제동 송리스 다 뉴모가 더세야 나서 선들어와린도와 뉴모세야양 선마도 바감마도 더자는 선리 제당 선리 떠모는 선리 마자는 선리 차도는 선리 대는지 참 된 들어가기 타버팅샤글 is 데리지다 소데 존조근은 소만나 예데 선돌돌욕 마도 버돌욕 몸부 찌고 송는 데니 송도 남바 산제바 개 체규데 선들어야 돼 개침 보는 거 있어 뒤돌욕 때는 다 나서 진양이서 있어 대마도 바기 선마도 서로 류나 돈나요 그거요 말이지 펜도요 말이지 돌욕 몸부 찌지 피는지 데니 송도.
So there are many religious traditions in the world, and some of them take particular emphasis or pay particular emphasis upon their outer conduct of body and speech. And some of them do a lot of austere practices in terms of their body and speech. For example, the Jain tradition are extraordinarily careful about never harming animals and insects. They take a specific care to never step on insects and so forth when they're moving around. They have particular practices that they do to make sure that they're extra careful not to do so and so forth. So many other of these traditions have very particular practices that they think that by washing their body in a particular way, they're purifying their misdeeds and so forth, and by not eating food or doing some kind of fasting practices and so forth. But Buddhism is kind of the opposite of that. We are different than that in that we primarily are working towards taming our minds. So the Buddha is said to have taught 84,000 heaps of Dharma, and those what was the point of those 84,000 heaps of Dharma? They are to tame the 84,000 afflictive emotions. And so when we say tame afflictions, what we mean is tame mind, because all afflictions are just mind. Attachment is mind, aversion is mind, ignorance is mind, jealousy is mind, pride is mind, and so forth. And so all of these are just methods for taming the mind. And otherwise, in the Bodhicharyavatara, it says that other than the austerity of taming your mind, what's the point of all these other austerities? And so the point of that statement then is that if you did not tame your mind, but merely work upon, without taming your mind, work upon training in all of these external practices, then there isn't much point in doing so if you're not changing your mind.
아니 따와띵 바바 사제티 모고 따와띵 바바 테소다 송는데 다 고메냐즈는 줄 제바가 까브레 젤다 담문 노르템 바텔라 류제 쪼로 검지 마레친 담만든지 롱고 마주 마주뉴 마라와 조시 센도냐는 계식 중으로 쇼. And
so the section has passed now that was establishing the view of Mahamudra, and now we're moving into the section which is how to practice it in meditation. So this first verse is a brief introduction to that, and it says, not sullied by the meditation that is conceptual effort, not stirred by the wind of ordinary distractions, may we know how to rest naturally and freely, not altering. May we be skilled in and sustain the practice of the mind.
때 담보 디나니 담만든지 롱고 마주바세 때 담보 시에나니 때 답데그리스는 서드빈진 그때니 송요리 때인데 담만든지 롱고 마주바 송마데 다때 송데 담만든지 시나 가리드 송요리시나 다 남주이체 드란돌 년정 라소바치다 직빈 추게 그 아니 디딜레 데솔라 아니 담만바게 담만걸레라와 담만시든지 담만세야데 아니 지 소수지고 탐을받기 아니 지 빙기 아니 지 사와 단돌년정 총격번지라서 바다 이제 주게 그 동대다 고요리스 딱 검잡아 사자 첨부 검냠서 렘바가 깔라 다 되지 탐을게 이제 빙그 아지 단돌년정라서 바이나리 이제 주게 이나리 지 룬던저를 웬바 만합주를 웬바 선남도를 웬바 세나 웬바 something도 되는데 탐은든지 롱고 마주바스.
And so,
second nibada tamboshi. They caressing a rapari no.
Okay.
Tambo gom jagona. Jiping gets sawa and lega de suman jagodo.
And so, in explaining this verse, Sutta Panchen, there's a commentary by Sutta Panchen. Okay. He says that it's easiest to explain the second line first because the second line just deals with a more coarse or external kind of support for practice. So it's kind of the first thing that needs to be addressed. So he says that it's better to explain the second line first, which says not stirred by the wind of ordinary distractions. And what that means then is not to be caught up in the ordinary worldly activities of what we call the 8 worldly attitudes and so forth. So basically what that means is that when you're actually meditating on the Mahamudra, you need to let go of all worldly interactions and activities and worldly concerns and have that actual solitude, which we talk about the solitude of the body being free from outer busyness, the speech being free from ordinary conversation, and the mind being free of conceptual thought.
Go jaha. Tambo meso ji 소소 그 두두서 여보죠. 되는 때지 다 소소 return하고지 나라비 때 많이 배이나 소소 낭라고지 나야 검적사가 때서 로롱로 자만로 때지 여보지죠. 되는 때문에는 때저 다 소소 그지 봐 낭나 내가 가지지 요나 내가 내 되는 검 무슨 자고 가서 내가 참죠. 되는 가버터 소야 고자 되는 검도 자고도 대마도 디 담만든지 롱게 쭉 놓은가 검도야 자 가버다나 자 가버다다 세는데 왜 지나다네 되는 이제 검 문로도 소야 고지 담부터 그러고 그랬지.
And so we need to prepare some time for our meditation. And if it's possible for you to go off to an actual retreat or to some mountain retreat place, that's the best. But otherwise, if you're just practicing at home, then you need to set up a good place for meditation, somewhere where you can relax and somewhere that is very clean. And so, and before you begin a session of meditation, you need to make sure that you have completed all of the kind of tasks that you need to complete. Otherwise, and get there, make sure you're done with what you're doing, turn off your phone, and sit and then do your practice. Otherwise, as it says here, not stirred by the wind of ordinary distractions, you will definitely be stirred by the wind of distractions if you don't do all of these preliminary things to get ready for your meditation. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting there, your phone's going to ring, and in the middle of your practice, you're going to be answering the phone like, hey, what's going on? So it's important then to properly set up things for your practice and to have this proper preliminaries or proper setup for your practice.
야 담원들 롱가 마주바 티 탑제도 가려야리스나다 사제제 뭐 검르세바나 아니 기치시 되는 물로도서 아니지 야고지 담 하정가 기치 뭐 말에 담원이 지때 투무세 뭐도 로도 남아지에 신도가 되는데 지 담전니까 설마다가 레줌제 코르님에 따라서 때서 지다 검토바이 마이나 되는 것도 그 로도 쇼침모 코르와 소도 여러봐 근데 다 로도 남겨 거는데 되는지 코르와다 센더다 이제 빙비 추코나 삼주 된지 대마도 바가 매바 뒤에 소때도 노다 근데 이제 검냠니스 근도 대선이 이제 추조근도 담을 추도 투상고 좀 조근도 사마게 로도 좀 도토고 그랬어 저와동 토고 그랬어 근데 담을 이제 로도 남시고 되네 지네 되네 란탄지 지민지 다지 장부선지 근데 이제 도지 선발 때는 즉 소소까지 드럽장 근데 이제 매너버가 거는 소소까지 쓰는 거 초사 근데 네 라면 남겨고 거니다 사제지 무서야 돼서 이제 생각도 무글 그 깜빡하는 말이 되는데 이제 라면 생각도 좀 드롭된 냠슬리 근데 사제지 뭐 된데 주가 이마이나 근데 담만도 좀 너무 쥐고 말이지.
And so in the Mahamudra, really the foundational practices of mundro, of preliminaries, are extremely important. And so first, in a session, if we can contemplate and give some time to the thoughts of the four thoughts that turn the mind, the thoughts of the preciousness of the human birth with its freedoms and advantages, the death and impermanence, karmic cause and result, and the faults of samsara, then this will be helpful in that normally our minds are entirely focused on our samsaric preoccupations and our worldly lives and worldly concerns. And so if we can think of these four thoughts at the beginning of a session, then we can kind of turn our minds from that and kind of really gain a thought of, man, I really should meditate. I really do want to practice more. I really do want to practice hearing, contemplation, and meditation more. And we can really change our mind or turn our mind from those worldly occupations and focus them into our practice. And so first we can meditate on those four thoughts, and then we can turn our attention to the ground and foundation of all of our paths, which is the practice of refuge and bodhicitta. Then moving into the practice of vajrasattva, which is for the purpose of purifying our obscurations and misdeeds. And then into the mandala practice, the accumulation of mandala for the purpose of accumulating gathering the accumulation of merit. And then into the practice of Guru Yoga, where in the Guru Yoga, since Mahamudra is a path which relies upon blessings and devotion, we can practice Guru Yoga in order to receive those blessings and generate that devotion to the Guru.
양 이제 등산 흔들죠. 근데 뭐지 양 같이 들려야 같이 양배 즉 자체도 우선 쇼기 정도가 당연 물론 몸이 참아 지 차인세게 뭔가 토야요. 근데 얘는 양 고속이 이제 양 부채도 做 마성무세나 근데 소소가 제 선도 로드 땡네 지금 여러 동 마다 봤다 근데요 뭐도 봐 근데 이마 얘는 딱 물론 뭐지 그 자과 그 그동도 들어만도 그동도 들어요 말이야 물론 요도 가래서 그래서 직빈 chen 직빈 그 사와를 로도 토고 요리 근데 소소 그 열리 딱 장로당 샘지 대바당 아니 즉 근데 모르다 아니 즉 더소야 야제동 공부동 토고도 그래서 때는 또 맞아버세 되네 장코나데 되네 사이시 와이마이나 다 배용요들이 먼저 사지 부탁하다 배용요로 그 배용요가 좀 맞아봐게 문에 즉 사제 전부 공부 그 세바가 문로도 찾이는 작음도 되는지 되지 양지 되네 타지도 되네 문제요 맞아봐이마이나 그 남주면서 그 지tam 다고 내 준비해서 야보상모당 콜바는 님종 되네 지 산조비산 돈이 그따와 그래서 이거 저 lonjwa 지 로토바 이마이나 다 문은 문제가 고추도요. 그뭐 그동도 넣어도요. 그 탈람도 제바리도 얘는 단다도 넣어도요. 근데 무유도 넣다고 한도. 야 드네야면서 그지 남제에서 동한 거야지 근데 되셔. 주박하시 근데 투여는 문은 문제 차니 썸이야 야 차면서 그 투여도 얘는 제트가 이만하지 마마 대신 세대신 주로면 비치니도 세한하지 내가 뒤에 통영 산소대 양모시 밭에서 욕을 넘어요. 어따저배 어소사서야 우리 샤가스 삼범 썸차를 이전 차례서 그 너가 얘는 야 버리면서 그네 양지 무로게 차지는 로마 타바이 마이나 그래서 사지 부탁하면 배우삼 좀 잡아리 만약에 농토바이 마이나는 야 배우삼 좀 잡아리 내가 배우 요리데 얘는 야 냥닝을 받은 로고들 야 지금 저왔더니야 그때는 로토고 나와
And so there are many people who I've met who, have done the preliminary practices, and they're really focused just on the numbers, on accumulating the numbers. So they're really focused on this 400,000. And so there's many people who focus so much, and they have accumulated these 400,000 practices, but they were really not focused on doing a quality practice. And some of them were not really able to change themselves in a deep way. And so in that case, they did complete the 400,000, but they didn't actually fulfill the purpose of doing that 400,000 accumulations. And so what we really need to happen, what we need to create through this practice is we need to be able to turn our minds from the worldly concerns, ordinary worldly concerns. We really need to be able to generate authentic refuge, bodhicitta, faith and devotion and so forth. And otherwise, there is still some benefit to doing the practice, but it's not really going to serve the purpose of being a preliminary for authentic Mahamudra practice. And it doesn't really count as a preliminary for that if you don't actually change your mind. And so, but for other people, it's not necessarily the case that everyone has to do preliminary practices, that someone has to do 400,000 preliminary practices. In other cases, if somebody does contemplate karmic cause and result, impermanence, really generates true renunciation for samsara, really studies and understands the view of emptiness and so forth, then that also can count as a preliminary that's equal to doing the 400,000 accumulations. It's a different method, but it serves the same purpose. But I've met a lot of people who have finished the preliminaries 2, 3, 4 times, but really didn't change their mind. There's a quote from the Uttara Tantra where it says, just as it was before, so is it after. It's the unchanging true nature. He's joking that that's how they are, but that's actually a line about Buddha nature, that it's unchanging. But he made that, line to be an example of how these people are. And I tell them, your stubbornness is really impressive, your persistence. Because I've met people who have done 300,000 or 400,000 prostrations. And so that's still beneficial. There is still some benefit to that. Even just doing one prostration has unimaginable benefit. Just reciting one Mani mantra is unimaginably beneficial. But when we're talking about really going through the stages of practice, we really need to focus on a real change of mind.
그래서 근데 류제torba gomje 말에서 다 gom금으로 지금 천지 류동야 근데 지금 민정다 산조가 선트도 주려고 직接서로 그 조가 다 gom무 gom자와 가다 가래 걸으시는 류제torba gomje 말이지 송도 아니 지금 gom자와 그 값으로 다 사제 전부 gom바 값을 양 지로 못받은 짐바당 근데 로그 근데 지다 가르블라서바 로그 지 규마고 거는 gom자예요 말이지 류제torba 그 gomje 말해봐 근데 어느 가르브 자 걸으시는 다 시바 코랑 산전에로 되게 나무 근데 지금 다 레벨 짐주 마음은 되면서 다다 시바께 지금 틱된 마주 버나왔다 냐바 잡다 도바이마이너스 마주 뉴마라와 요 시베 선돈냐니 케진 중어쇼스.
And so once we've done these kind of preliminaries and we've focused on that refuge, bodhicitta, and really kind of giving up concerns for this life, then the actual practice of meditation is discussed here, where it says not sullied by meditation, which is conceptual effort. And what that means, when we're actually engaging in meditation practice, then we're done thinking, we're done examining. And we should not have any grasping in our minds. We should not be establishing or negating anything. But we should not be, therefore we should not be sullied by, or we should not be having any kind of conceptual effort, as it says, not sullied by meditation that is conceptual effort. So what is it then? It is that we need to just remain in that nature of mind without chasing after thoughts of the past, without invoking the future or considering future events, but just remaining in the present moment, resting naturally and freely and not altering. As it says here, may we know how to rest naturally and freely, not altering. May we be skilled in and sustain the practice of the mind.
근데다 공무지 때다 아니 담보 아니 디 신내지 신내 근데 아니 한동 건 넘버 2요리 근데 다 담보 신내 라시인데 타라토고 월랍란사시 요미선데 초응난데 소모뇨고 드마탄더베 신내들도 메요 템브쇼.
And so in the actual practice of meditation now, that first verse was kind of a brief introduction to the main practice, and now in the main practice we have two sections, which are the explanation of calm abiding or shamatha meditation, and the second will be vipassana or superior insight. And so the first, on shamatha or calm abiding meditation, says, may the subtle and coarse waves of thought be naturally calmed. May the river of mind, unmoving, come to natural rest. Free from the polluting stains of torpor and dullness, may the ocean of shamatha be unmovingly stable.
The shene gong yumba kala ani ti lune sene mane sinta ya hunu som do. Tende tamu lune sende ta ravi mayena luna na chuden sina kamba durji cherong da jawa. Kasi ni je kamba durji cherong ja ma to na ke ma do ta namjing so cherong ja de ba ta tende de sina chu de. Yang ti ni cherong we de ma to na chebre yo ma gom se ya de yang so ya ji ku ja no gam na de tende be gom de na chu gris. Kamba durji cherong ja wa ro. Tane ki che gi cherong na so to na te go wa de na ga chan da da ta sa se de ki che mo de sha. Ma so ku ja gam na de na ta cherong je na ta ka de je ma yin na ya zu bo de ya ta mu zo go do. Tende ji lu dang na za dang na long dang na san dang sin de nu xie re. Te se tane ne la ba ni te o de nyam ya sa de ji tane go ba u ma ni de te se jang tane de ma chung ze ko ji ya gi ne jar men na ze ge so je de tane ma ta lu na na chu de si so kang to so tane jas se lu ne de.
And so when we're meditating on shamatha, we talk about three main points. Those are the key points of the body, or the posture, the key points of the speech or the breath, and the key points of mind. So first, the supreme way or the best way to place your body or to have a posture is what's called the 7-point posture of Varyachana. And so those 7 points are first to have your legs in the lotus or vajra posture. And if you can't sit in a full Vajra posture, then that's fine. It doesn't matter. You can just sit ordinarily cross-legged. And if you absolutely can't even sit cross-legged, then it doesn't really matter. You can just sit in a chair. But that moves us to the second point, which is the crucial one. The most important point is that it said that your spine should be as straight as an arrow. So whether you're sitting in the Vajra posture, sitting in an ordinary cross-legged posture, or sitting in a chair, you should have your spine as straight as an arrow. And now the third point then, and in connection with that, they say that if your body is straight, then your channels are straight. If your channels are straight, then your winds are straight. And if your winds are straight, then your mind will be straight. And so the third is that just under your navel, your hands should be in the gesture or the mudra of meditative equipoise, like that. And then the fourth is that your shoulders should be somewhat open. The fifth is that your chin should be slightly tucked. The sixth is that your tongue should be touching the roof of your mouth. And the seventh is that your eyes should look just past the tip of your nose.
Tene ta ngane seyade ngak chawa ta long de ten de ta gom jawa ka long de so rawa bi ja bo re ta long ya musal ke ji tin de long rong ga mo ba de tin gom na kha de ma to ba ga mun ro de chen de ta mo ma so ke je u gyo de ja to so ane ji khoran na rawa spa ja cha ba ma to ba ke yang na so gom ja go ta de no bo de so je yang rong mo je tong go so lu je tong go je yang de ni sa mo kan ma de na ko ra yin ra wa ko de ni bi yo go re.
And then the next, the key point of the speech. So the root of speech is actually the breath or the wind. And so here we're just told to keep our breath just naturally as it is, not to change it, but just leave it as it is. It's different if you're engaging in a practice of focusing on the breath, like if your meditation practice is focusing on the inhale and exhales of the breath. But here, this is a different situation where we're talking of the preliminaries. And in the preliminaries, we're told that we should just keep our breath naturally as it is and not try and alter it, trying to intentionally make the breath longer or more relaxed or whatever. We shouldn't think about the breath at all, but just leave it as it is.
Tene sene tene ta shiba tadama tagarang katana majuma ma rawa lu senyamba jaya ta gong ka ki chimburesha ata tese.
And then the key point of mind is that you should leave your mind in its as it is in the present moment, and that's it.
Ta tene shene sene ta ti chegde ta mo so ko ha de ja ye wo ye Shen si de kale song ye si na nga so nang do de so pa xie wa re wa xie si de nang do de so pa xie go ge de si ta ne si de kale si ne ta nang do de pa xie na de ne san ge mo ka na de na yang ta na zhe de ne ba wa ta de la xie ne si ne de ne song ye re.
And so first it's good if we understand what is meant by the word shamatha. So shamatha in Tibetan is made up of two syllables. One is shi and one is ne. So the first syllable, shi, means peace or pacified. And so what is that that's pacified? It is the pacifying of conceptual thought. And then what does it mean to abide? So once we have pacified that conceptual thought, it's that we are to abide single-pointedly in whatever is the object of our meditation.
Ta tambo shewa de song de chara to bo wala bran sa she song ba de ta de sem de janzo no je le de ni be ku ne de ni song ye re ta janzo ko balap de na so nam do no je re de la chaw nam do da ra wa ke nam do ni ye re ta chaw nam do se de ka ne so de ne do ta de some of the mambo ji jon do de ye na chor to ba ma do de so wa nga yen sung na sama zo nga so lo je no ta ta so nam do chaw ri nga so mu me zen ba de ni do ka chu nga yen short si ti nga so nam jin she ya yo ba de no de nam do mambo de je de ba ye na nam do de so mu me zen ba nam do de nam do chaw ri ta Rāpa sīnā tā chīpa rīngā sō chī ngū shīn tō kī chī tā nyō mō bā nāng tō yēn nā chī bā chā xī tāng tā mō ngā jā lā sō bā yēn nā rī tē mā yīn bā kī chī nām chī ngā sō nāng tō tā pē sō sō kī chī tē ngō shī tē bā kī nām tō mā mō tō wā ngā tā tā tī nī sāng tō ngā tī nī kō tō sāng ngā yān rā wā tā ngā chī tī nī mā mō yō rī wā tē sō nām tō rā wā rī 다 너는 나 타본 나도 있는다. 라본 나도 있는다. 비 장주 발락도 나와가 나도 돼서 봐. 쉬고 그래지. 나도 쉬고 그래지.
And so first, when we're talking about the first aspect of pacifying, it said that may the subtle and coarse waves of thought be naturally calm. So we're taking the example of an ocean. So mind is like the ocean, and the waves are like our thought. Our thoughts are like the waves in that ocean. And so we have subtle thoughts and we have coarse thoughts. And so what is a subtle thought? A subtle thought is when you're sitting there and you're thinking and thinking and thinking, but you don't even recognize you're thinking until you have a flash of awareness. It's like, oh man, I was distracted. I've been thinking all this time, and you don't even recognize that you're thinking. Where a coarse thought is more of ordinary thought, where you actually know that you're thinking. You're sitting there thinking, I need this and I need that, and I'm going to go here and so forth. And so whether we're having a coarse thought or a subtle thought, we need to pacify any sort of thought.
다 네버티 다 생기 신의 검도 무슨 뭐다 신의 검도 지 신의라 영 먹고야 여러 가신다고 지는 ben 롱롱의 뭐 검대반다고 당 양 가신은 지디 재미 그 신의는 양 무딘 가양 메버티 검야 그 먹고요 다 간다 가래 검는 양 아니 지뭐 가와 때는 양 되는 참때 발업다 tarwaki jamzu na yin yo me ba teni sen me pa ka kana te na yang ani che te che da ne ta go yo de.
And so for the abiding then there are really many different types of shamatha practices or calm abiding practices. There's practices of focusing your attention upon the coming and going of the breath. There are many different kinds of what we call objectless shamatha or non-referential shamatha. So anyway, whatever your object of focus is or whatever your meditative object is, you're told to focus on that in a way that is free from the waves of any conceptual thought. So it should be like a still ocean free from waves.
Yang tindi balap ta darwaki jamso ane leme neba na yi tindi be shene gom deba ka kabla yang shene ka chung yo re. Tati shene ta yang chung song yo ma yi na chung ta pa ma si ba yi ma yi na ti jamso ta chot nyoma dawo ji chan yo re. Ta tindi je yin ba yin de ta tingen jen ke chung si de ta dina samuk nyo bu dhamma dandar we song do wa. Jadang tingen jen ki dhaba tena ta ngumulurup ki ini ta ma nama nga si na tindi bi song gu tan gyu ta nusin mubala soba tindi bi song yo re te ta chon dor do yo ma yi na ta samuk ni si na ta samwa ta go ba. Ne chik samuk ta ti tingen jen ta so dan do yo re si. Tenge chik ti tingen jen ke chung chon nyoma da trawa ki tene shene ta yuwa me ba ki jamso bal nando ka balap tan trawa ani che da ne ba ki yuwa me ba ki jamso tenge jen ke chung ani che tende sangu la so ba trawa ki ni che tende jamso taman na ji tende shene gongo kre shene jamso me yo tember show.
And so when we are meditating in this ocean-like mind free from waves, then there are some faults or some problems that can come about in that meditation. And if we don't resolve those or eliminate those faults, then the water of our meditation, the water of our ocean becomes filthy, becomes polluted. And so those two faults, generally Nagarjuna in his text discuss 5 faults that can occur in samadhi, but when we condense those faults, they are contained within dullness and agitation, or dullness and excitement. And so we need to be free from those stains or those problems of difficulty and excitement and remain in a stillness, a calmness of, so first we need to have the calmness of being in that state without the waves of disturbing thoughts. And then when we're in that state free from thought, single-pointedly in our focus, then we also need to make sure that our water remains clear and pure, that being free from the faults of meditation of dullness and agitation.
so gongi ni te gomya go jaya na ke chongkon jawado te chongkon do this te gomya go ke jabde yun te tenen je ji smula so wasam gom to ane la na to te ne ji chogo chongkon la wa cheban do so ma de ta te so du yung wa yin ta te sangwa to go ba ni ka na do yuris ta go ba se de ta nam do cho wa ro te nam do gom jabde de ya nam do cho yung de yang kabe yang sangwa se yin de yang de nam do ma je we ma yin na yang sama sibo me ba san thab lo ya de ni ni khum lo ya nyo san ro pa nyo yu ya de ni do wa de ni ji nam do cho wa la su ba de ni so ma yu ma yin na ten je ka ke re de ne yang ji ma san nyo san thab ni khu ya de so yang ni gong ki yi ma de ta de ni song yu ma yin na ta nga so de san ne go la so ba ki de ni ge tatting the case tabian tin memma mombu yere the so nyamda lang na namdo tho yong ya gong ke tin namdo ke jis ma daw se tin yang gong ke ten so samija tin gong de ma mon de tin ke gong yang san ji tin de ma that san nyo ani ji ni khu ya re na ro ba ya sang ji tin la yang gong ke ten na nyam ba jo ta tin de gong go de.
So in that text of Nagarjuna, he talks about those 5 faults of meditation that can occur in meditation, and he says that they're like a bandit that can destroy your meditation or that can steal your meditation. And so basically, if we have either of those faults, that those 5 are contained within these 2 of dullness and agitation, then they will damage or destroy your meditation. And so agitation or excitement then is when we're caught in thought, when thoughts are arising. And when we talk about dullness, then we're talking about an unclear state of mind, when your mind feels bored or tired and sleepy. And so if either one of those happens, that's an obstacle to your meditation. So if you are experiencing excitement or agitation, then you need to recognize that and not follow after those thoughts, but come back to your object of meditation. And there are many particular instructions for how to go about that. There are particular instructions called the 9 points of mind and so forth. And if you are experiencing dullness and sleepiness, then you need to reawaken, clear back up your mind, and then come back to your object. So we're going to stop the morning session here. So please have some good food for lunch. And don't eat too much for lunch or else you're going to be sleepy in the afternoon.
Thank you.